to Okay Painters. Is it Okay Painter or Okay Painters? There's two of us.
Well, you named it.
Oh, I said Okay Painters.
Okay Painters.
Okay Painters.
Okay Painters.
So let's get to painting.
Let's start painting.
This week I'm painting a tomato plant.
And this week I will be painting some pictures I found on my iPod Touch. Okay.
All right, what's our first? How was your week, first of all?
I remember very little of it. I think I went swimming a lot.
Where swimming where?
Oh, all over. Yesterday I went to what's that place? It's not Chesterfield. So I've been exploring, but you really shouldn't be painting right now as a PSA or swimming, not painting.
I was like, do I need to stop?
Stop painting.
Don't swim right now. Why?
Because of like the storms cause so much agitation. That there's like a lot of agricultural runoff that like increases the E. coli, which is why like I think at least recently like the Fort Creek in Amherst, I don't know, I almost said Omaha, had like 10 times the level of like E. coli. They needed to like close it and be like, absolutely don't do any activities here. So I don't know, just something to be aware of.
Good to know. PSA, don't go swimming right now.
Yeah, although, okay, I don't want to get sued by saying this, but like, I mean, if you just want to stand in the water, just don't put your head under.
Does E. coli come from your head?
Hmm?
What? So, okay. Does E. coli come from people swimming?
No. E. coli is like a bacteria that naturally occurs, but is, I think, enhanced by like certain chemicals and things like that. And so there's like a high E. coli level in the water right now, but you mostly would ingest it by swimming and like putting your head under the water, you know? So I think my philosophy has been to not put my head under the water.
That seems smart.
Yeah. How was your week?
My week was pretty okay. Trying to remember what even I did. I mostly was working. That's all I do. Right now is work.
Yeah.
And try and do organizing and try and relax and try and not lose my mind.
Yeah, that seems like a really good way to spend time right now. Yeah, I think I am losing my mind, but that's okay. We're gonna get it back together. Should we move on to our content?
Yeah, let's move on to our topics. Now that we've updated everyone on how we are.
Yeah. So what's first up on the content list? I'm going to just ban myself from saying content for like at least a little while.
Oh my god, these planes.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of planes. Apologies to everyone. That's one of the small airfield planes. But we also get the military planes and the commercial jets.
Oh my god, so yesterday we did a reading group in Child's Park.
Oh, nice.
And there was like a crazy plane overhead that was like clearly like a military jet. It was awful.
I always get like pretty freaked by the military jets.
They're scary.
Like,
where are you going?
It's just a good reminder we live in Infinity War.
Yeah.
But
ooh.
Yeah.
All right, what's our first topic?
Should we do local news first and then branch out?
Yeah, let's do local news.
All right. What's the relevant local news, do you think?
What's the what?
Relevant local news.
Let's see.
I can tell you about the CPA to start things off, like kind of lighthearted.
Yes, I would love to hear about the Hadley CPA
oh my God.
drama.
So, yeah, I don't know if anyone has been following the Hadley local political drama as closely as me, but So the CPA is the Community Preservation Act, which is a Massachusetts thing. And it's like a good thing. I think, I don't want to put my word on it, but it's like a pretty good thing. And it's like a fund to like help, like, it was kind of established around like historic preservation, but it's also like a little broader. Like, I think those funds often get used for like kind of public works things that are a little underfunded, and the state like matches those funds a lot. Anyway, so like a lot of the like rent relief funds that are in like East Hampton and Northampton, or not Northampton, but I think Amherst and stuff right now are like from CPA funds. I don't know exactly how it works, but for it. So Hadley, like all these other towns, has a CPA board, and
the stand for Central Planning Authority?
Community Preservation Act. But really close. Like, none of those words are like interesting. So
None of those words are correct, but
and like CPA is also certified public accountant.
Yeah.
So
it's a
which
all right, go ahead.
Anyway, whatever.
I wish it was a Central Planning Authority. Why did I say that? Of course it's not.
Potentially off camera, we should talk about PVPC, because I don't know, Pioneer Valley Planning Commission.
Yeah.
But basically what happened is I think the CPA board in Hadley is like 3 people. It's like a volunteer position, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty certain. And the guy that's like kind of is the main guy, I guess, forgot to like that he had to like rebid for like his seat as the head of the CPA board, and so he didn't, and other people did, and he got pushed out of the board because his term expired and he didn't do anything about it.
Oh my God.
And anyway, so there's a little article in the Hampshire Daily Gazette about how there's like some minor light local scandal because he was like pretty upset, and then like asked one of the new people to resign so he could get back on the board, and then like our local like
that's not gonna happen.
Weird like I don't know how to describe this guy, but you know David Phil Jr.?
No.
There's a lot to get into there. He like owns like he like lives in Hadley, and he's like a select board member, but he's kind of like a Trump dude that like is a Defense Department contractor.
Oh, great.
It's weird. And he was quoted a lot in the article being like, tough luck, who cares? And so so that was the minor scandal, and then the CPA guy had to like apologize to everyone for like being belligerent. And then he was like, can we just make the board 4 people? And they were like, no. And I was like, Jesus Christ. Anyway.
Oh my God.
So that's the CPA news.
That's fascinating. I always felt like it's crazy that people don't get reminded that they have to do that.
Yeah, that was a big part of the article, was like them being like, well, maybe in the future we'll make like something where you get like a letter or something that like your term is expiring. Because he was like, I just really thought it was next year. And then like Jane Nevin-Smith and like I think Kristen Stanley, they're like the 2 people on the Hadley Select Board that I think I trust the most. They seem the most reasonable to me, from what I know. We're like, yeah, maybe we just like redo this part, and David Phil Jr. was like, no. Anyway, so that's the light-ish local drama. Anyway.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like a clusterfuck, because like it does like involve like a fair amount of funds, you know, like it's not like it's like a little board that doesn't do anything. So it's unfortunate, I think.
This already doesn't look like tomatoes.
Well, it's maybe you'll get there. It's
Still
about
early.
the destination, not the journey.
Still
The queer Appalachia thing, which is like not something that I think I have like a right to like really have a take on. So I just want to make that clear. And I was like, I should put that on the list.
I just think it's the thing that makes the queer Appalachia thing so funny is that, I'll wait for the plane. Is that they were supposed to promo Shelf Life and they just like ghosted me.
Oh, really?
So I'm like, this is so funny. Like I was literally thinking about emailing them. It's like, oh, never mind.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's like a thing where like if a lot of the people who followed that page were closer to the situation, like geographically, like it was like an actual like coherent, like cohesive community that like talked among itself, it wouldn't have gotten that far, you know? Like part of...
Yeah, because it's just a meme page.
It was just a meme page. And like, I mean, I think because of like the person who ran it's like East Coast connections, like probably why it like kind of took off like on the coasts and became like kind of this like poster like activism meme page for like this thing where like, you know, people after the last election have been like very self-conscious about like how much do I actually like connect with like these different areas of the country, like is following this meme page activism, you know?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, but like also if like people had been close to that and been able to be like, I don't see a single person with a coat, it would have, you know, it would have just like nipped it in the bud.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. And that's kind of how it like just because like the Science Scene Buy stuff was going on at the same time, I think I was thinking about them both kind of that way, where it's like, yeah, I guess you can like keep up a catfish for 4 years on the internet.
Yeah, especially I think that something that has been stressing me out a lot recently, and that I'm sure that you have thoughts about as well, is that I think that we're sort of reaching like a, what's the word? What is that when it's like it's been building for a long time? Not a climax, whatever. I'll just say climax.
Yeah, I know. Culmination, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Something like that.
Or like a breaking point, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
where
boiling point.
Boiling point, maybe. That's a good one.
Thanks. Oh no, I've ruined my painting.
No.
I mean, I haven't. It'll be fine. But
it's watercolor.
Doing triage. Okay.
I think
sorry.
I ruined my painting too, but we'll see.
We'll see.
It's not what I wanted to do at all. I completely forgot my own concept. I just went for it. I wanted a lot more white space in this. Anyway, you can't tell what it is. Anyway, we're reaching a boiling point, tipping point, blah, 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 with like internet funding, like crowdfunding,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that like it creates like a false sense, or like it creates like a, like it's not a false sense, because sometimes it is, like a lot of the time it is obviously legitimate, and like it creates a real sense of like contributing, you know, like
Yeah.
when you like pay for someone's like gas who's like leaving an abusive situation, or
Yeah.
you pay for someone's like COVID test or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like that. Or like even just someone just being like, I don't have housing, I like need money, you know?
Yeah.
But I think that we're reaching this point where like there is so many, there's so much like money asks, and there's so little like people don't check, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't check.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't check because sometimes it's like who has the time to check, and why would you assume that people are in bad faith? But I just think that like we're reaching kind of a point at which like I wonder if we're gonna see a lot more of these things, you know?
Yeah. It's hard, but it's also like, okay, like maybe we're reaching a point where like, yes, we're trying to meet people's immediate needs in the easiest way possible, but like this is why we need to build up different sorts of resources in the community.
Yeah, and recognize that like by design everyone at the bottom doesn't have enough money to support each other.
Yeah.
Like that's not where the money is.
Yeah.
And it's not like, I don't know, like I feel like when the eviction crisis is at like its height, I feel like we haven't gotten that yet, obviously. it will be like increasingly obvious that there just isn't enough money to go around for everyone to be okay.
Yeah, like mutual aid in like a financial resources sense is like a short-term fix to a long-term problem in like pretty much every case. Like the like end point is not like hopefully like let's all have enough money by giving each other money. Like the end point is like, does everyone have what they need to live?
Yeah.
Like without, I don't know. How do you feel about electoralism?
Bad.
Yeah. Same. When do you think the revolution is coming?
Cut the cameras. No, I think we start building now.
Yeah.
And I think my honest prediction is 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like because as you know, there is like no coherent American left.
Uh-huh.
So there's like a lot to do. And I also think that like identity politics shit, although creating like generations of people who care,
mm-hmm.
It has not created class consciousness.
Uh-huh.
And it has not created people understanding material conditions.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just created people who like are so close, like right at the line of like getting there, but are also like, like stan, your gay mayor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Or like we can vote in an abolitionist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, you can't, because I don't know, I think that we need to like, I think that a lot of people are coming around to the like, oh, we literally actively live under fascism right now. Like it's not just, it's not coming. It's not
here.
We're not far away from it. And it's been here a long time.
Yeah.
Significantly longer than most of us recognize. And what that means is that elections are not legitimate. Like we know that. You know?
Yeah, no election has been legitimate pretty much ever, because like in this country there's not access to elections for like a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they're going to become less and less legitimate and less accessible, because why would the fascists want people to vote?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, we got better things to do.
And I mean, like, we just have also like a prime example within Bernie culture, right? Of being like, okay, yeah, maybe someone who has kind of okay ideas about stuff, like, gets sort of close, and then we see what happens, right? Which is like the system would rather like eat itself
than let anything improve.
Yeah.
Significantly.
Yeah.
I also think that the Bernie thing shows, I don't know, I think people don't realize, well, I'm sure people realize, I don't know why I'm saying it like that. I think that I have realized recently.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about non-people who I don't actually am actually referencing.
I appreciate your restatement, like, a lot.
Thank you. I think that, like, the Bernie stuff really just emphasized, because I think that, like, the Medicare for All thing seems like a really big point as to why the establishment was so, like, no Bernie.
Yeah.
But I also think that Bernie, although not being anti-imperialist, being slightly less imperialist, and being like, we shouldn't sanction Iran, and we shouldn't, I think that was like, because in like a climate future, that's where all the money will come from.
Yeah.
That's where all our money already comes from. I don't know. So I think that like that is a big
part of it.
Yeah, is that the establishment was like, he can't, like, that's where all our money comes from.
They're like, simple, Bernie. Don't you understand? Yeah. I don't know. Jesus. What a world.
This painting looks like shit.
Well, maybe you'll finish and you'll figure out that it looks actually like something else a lot. It's a really good painting of like just something that's not a tomato, but I'm sure it looks good.
My reference image was so good. I really screwed myself by being like, I want the branches to be orange. I really because then I should have left the back. It's okay. It's alright.
I'm excited to see it, and considering the cabbage, I really think that it probably has a lot of potential.
We'll see. How's your painting going?
It's going okay. I hope I'm going at the right speed.
You think you're going at the right speed?
No, I have no idea. That's fine. Oh, Maddie's back. Yay.
What's our next topic?
Oh, did you want me to explain sciencing by to you a little bit, or at least what I witnessed?
Please explain sciencing by to me.
All right, this was nuts. So I was on Twitter.
You all good? So you're on Twitter.
I was on Twitter. What a fun way to start a sentence, a story. This is a story that happens online. And I don't know, I saw one of those threads that was like, my friend just died of COVID. You know, there are way too many of those threads. It's like super sad, gets you like angry and sad and all that stuff. And this was like a thread about this person's friendship with someone else. And just to sidebar, I don't know, I have a lot of feelings about writing. And
yeah, I'm so curious how this is gonna connect.
It's just like there are certain like writing tics that people do, particularly on Twitter, that I don't love. I think one of the hugest culprits of like one of the things that no one should do in writing anywhere for like a while is the thing where you like say something and then you put like a double space and it's a new paragraph and it's one sentence and that sentence is supposed to be so impactful. I just like, please don't do that. Anyone.
Okay, you got it.
Anyway, but it's sort of like, it had like a lot of that grandiosity to it. But like, obviously I wasn't sitting there being like, wow, this person's friend died. Like I have so many writing things I hate. I was like, oh my God, this is so sad. Like I can understand why someone would like need to like go on at length about like this experience. Also, Maddie, I love that book.
I just started reading it.
I'm so excited for you. That was the book that I gave my roommate that left.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Plug the book.
It was very hard for me to part with. I was like, I'm too attached to this book. I'll just order another copy. When I did.
Charlotte, plug the book. What's the book?
Oh, I'm sorry. The book is called Beyond Survival: Strategies and Stories from the Transformative Justice Movement. And I don't know, it's just really good. I feel like, yeah, I don't know, it could be a whole I could endorse it in a whole other
episode.
whole episode about it. But yeah, I think it's really cool. And I think one of the things that's really good about it is it's like very concrete. And it's like, this situation happened and this is what we did and this is how it turned out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like often in really messy, like traumatic situations, it's very hard to like order your thinking, right? So I don't know. I just, plug to that book. Sorry to stop you reading it. I just saw the spine and I was like, ooh. Good book.
All right, sciencing bias. So
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
And I didn't like, I went to like this like deceased person's like Twitter page and read some of their tweets and was like, oh, this is who they were. Anyway, just like shit like that. And and then like 24 hours later, I'm seeing all this stuff about how like this account is like fake. And like the person who like wrote the eulogy thread I was reading like had made the whole account up. And I was like, no way. But that is the case. And like the New York Times did a freaking story on it where like this woman was like, yes, I made the whole account up. But it was so messed up, right? And like then you have all these people that like had, and this account was like 4 years old or something, 3 or 4 years old. Like this was like a long con.
And the account was called Sciencing By.
Yeah, and supposedly, like, the concept behind the account was, like, this was someone who was a professor of anthropology who was an indigenous queer woman, and, like, it was her, like, anonymous, like, account about, like, her experiences as a queer woman in, like, academia, and specifically, like, kind of like science facing academia, and like was like kind of connected to this like Me Too STEM thing, which was like a different group of like women, including the eulogy lady, who like had were kind of like trying to become transparent about like different like misogyny in STEM and stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It's just a hot mess. And like the most messed up part is like part of the reason this person made up the account is like because it was a white woman, and this like alt gave her credence to like tweet at people as if she wasn't white, right? And like kind of dispel accusations of like white feminism away from her. It was so fucked.
That's nuts.
It is nuts. And like this person like clearly like, and like another way that these two things were interfacing for me, the Sciencing By and Queer Appalachia, was like they like immediately this discourse around, sorry about all the planes, I should have warned you.
Just one set.
Yeah, we'll just hold on for a minute. Like immediately the discourse turned, sorry, I did not wait at all.
Charlotte, it's okay, you're not sending them.
The government's trying to shush me.
Silencing By.
Jack from Twitter.com doesn't want me to comment. But no, I just thought because also like the second layer of this is like the sort of like knee-jerk like kind of like liberal empathy reaction that like also like, you know, is like tied to whiteness to an extent, where like people are like, well, like, you know, Mamone, like this woman whose name I forget, like you know, clearly they have mental health issues, and it's like, is this a useful way to talk about these things when you have people like harming other people actively? I don't know. And like, I mean, I don't really have like much to say on that. It's just like, I think like, and like Mamone like themselves like kind of engaged that and was like, listen, like I'm just very disorganized. And it's like, okay, but like if you were pulling in hundreds of thousands
like
of dollars of people's money and you know you're not capable of like managing that responsibly, you have to get other people involved. Like you can't just be like, I'm not organized and like call it a day. Yeah. I don't know. So I think, I don't know. I think like mental health discourse is important, and I also do not think it should be used to deflect responsibility, I guess. And it was just like interesting to watch that emerge, but I don't really have much to say on it.
No, that's very insightful.
But
they were very connected, and it was crazy that they happened at the same time. I didn't read very much about Sciencing By because I was paying too much attention to the Queer Appalachia stuff. I was like, I'll pay attention to the Twitter stuff later.
Instagram first, Twitter later.
Yeah. Ugh.
I don't know. I didn't get like too deep in the Queer Appalachia stuff because I was like, this is just gonna make me sad.
Yeah, it is very sad. It's crazy, like, I don't know. I worry about the queer community, scare quotes.
Big square codes.
Because I don't know, it just reminds me of like conversations you and I have had in the past about like how important it is to care about things locally.
Yeah.
And it makes you think like what you said, like if people had lived, if more people were paying attention who actually lived in the place that Queer Appalachia was actually serving, then they would notice that there weren't coats.
Yeah.
You know, and also like I don't know. I feel like if you don't know, I feel like we should give money to people who live near us and in our community, because then we can make sure they're okay
Yeah.
physically.
Yeah.
Although right now it's hard, but
Which, like, then it becomes complicated because it's like, yes, I do think that, like, money on the coast should also be redistributed to, like, areas where, like, you can do mutual aid, but there's, like, not as many resources.
yeah.
And so, but, like, also, yeah, like, everything I heard, like, after that, which, again, maybe you know more, it's just, like, the people around there knew. Like, you know, like, Tanya from Trailbillies was like, everyone
Oh,
in
yeah,
my
I saw that.
community has, like, known this whole thing is a scam for years. Like, even, like, we knew not to trust Mamone, like, even before for Appalachia. Anyway.
Very
But yeah,
interesting.
and like, I mean, like the whole thing, that the reason the Science Scene Buy stuff fell apart, which this lady was kind of an idiot about it. She like gave too many details. She was like, build this catfish account as like a Hopi professor of anthropology at Arizona State University.
Like,
yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, if anyone had bothered to like really look
Google
into it, they probably could have like,
take like 2 seconds.
yeah.
Like, is there a professor at?
But then, like, people were really concerned about this person that they thought they knew on Twitter, and, like, reached out to, like, ASU to, like, try to, like, find, like, things they could do for, like, family or whatever. And she was like, we don't have any record of any professor matching that description. And it's like, yeah.
Oh, my God.
You fucked up by making, you can't overplay the lie is, like, the big thing.
Yeah, you gotta get out while you're ahead.
Yeah.
It also makes me wonder about how the infrastructure of social media allows for this kind of shit to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it is, like, hard because there does need to be just, like, faith that, like, people are, like, doing the right thing and everything. But, God, do people make it hard.
I have no faith.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right, what's next?
Yeah, what is next? You have the list. I don't have anything in front of me
All right,
besides
I'm pulling it
my
up.
dumb painting.
So we have art we've liked lately, 100 gex. I want to hear from you about the Zuckerberg hearing, because we're kind of doing local news.
Oh yeah,
So
we're
that's
expanding now though. We're going national.
I have so much to say about farmer influencers, because we have a favorite farmer influencer.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm very excited to hear this. I don't, okay, but actually I think the one thing you saw from me about the Zuckerberg hearing was that my computer like bit the dust in the middle of it.
No.
So I actually only saw like 5 minutes of that, and then, Steve Jobs from heaven pulled the plug. Which I resent. And so I have been meaning to go look up the hearing and watch it, but there's nothing like watching something live. So I actually know very, very little about it, and I'm mad about it. What do you think?
I know very little about it too. I feel like I heard of it the day of, and I was like already doing something. I think I don't know. It did not seem to really get a lot of airplay, except that one thing of AOC like roasting him or whatever.
See, but what's interesting is I knew that clip before because that was, I think, like a year or two ago. Like, that's an old clip that someone dug out because it was relevant again.
Interesting.
But I will say that I felt like it was, I think, a senator from Rhode Island, or was it a member of the House? I don't know. Who was doing like the main questioning, and I thought he was pretty like good and persistent from what I saw.
That's good.
But yeah, I need to go back and watch it, which is going to be such a struggle. Like, I need to be locked in a room with like a VHS tape where that's the only thing. And like on hour 4, I'll be like, okay, I guess I'll watch it. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm sorry I don't have much on that.
Yeah, maybe we do our research and come back.
Yeah, maybe if I'm like obligated to know about it for a future episode, I think that'll be a good motivator for me.
Hell yeah. What should we do next?
Oh, you had art that you liked recently.
I I do.
This is an art show.
This is an okay art show. You're a much better painter than I am.
I don't think that's true.
I think it's true. All right, okay. So the art that I liked, I follow this account. I follow this person, not an account, whose name is Vienna Rye. Their URL, already messed this up. Their handle on Instagram is VRYE. They're a communist. They're an artist. They live in New York City. And they make these beautiful zines. But one particular art piece that I've been thinking about a lot lately is there was an Emory Douglas piece that says, it's like a little comic strip kind of thing, and it says it's all the same, and then it has 3 panels, each with a pig that has like a assault rifle and is all dressed up and has like a nightstick or a baton or whatever, and they're all labeled differently. So one is local, they all look exactly the same except they're all labeled local police, National Guard, and Marines. So Vienna Rye took that Emory Douglas one and the Emory Douglas comic strip. I don't know what you technically call it. Print comic strip. Anyway. And redid it, like remixed it for 2020, a 2020 interpretation of Emory Douglas in the Age of Neo-Colonial Empire by Vienna Rye. And it shows, it's the same pig 6 times now, and there's a rainbow pig, and there's a black pig, and there's a yellow pig, and there's a woman pig, and there's a pig kneeling, and it says it's all the same. So I really liked that. I can show it to you. I'll put it in the video.
Okay, so all cops are the same.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I really liked that. I thought it was cool. Thought it was
I'm sorry, please finish your sentence.
I just thought it was cool to do like a remix of an old, because Emory Douglas was in the Black Panthers, right? Pretty sure.
I do not know anything about Emory Douglas. I am forced to reveal.
I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check. I just don't want to be wrong for the video.
Yeah.
He made of course, yeah, duh. He was the Minister of Culture for the Black Panther Party.
Nice.
His graphic art was featured in most issues of the Black Panther newspaper. So I thought it was cool to do like a remix of something. Particularly because we're sharing so many old images, particularly from the Black Panther Party and Emory Douglas lately, that I think it's cool. I don't know. It almost makes me feel like culture has us believe that we need more images all the time, brand new images, when old images are actually still relevant and still powerful and still necessary, and we can just reuse them in ways, or remix them or update them, because there's not really much new to do.
I have like 3 different thoughts in my head.
I'm excited for them.
I'm just gonna say up front, none of them are like that exciting. One was the other day I was thinking about, as you know, I am supposedly a graduate student in history. Maybe you know that, I don't know. I
know you're supposedly one.
I mean, I think it's a scam. I'm definitely playing it as a scam. I'm like, yeah, I will take those resources. But like, do I feel like I know or am good at history? No. But I was thinking about, history repeats itself, a phrase we get to hear all of the time. And I'm like, does it? Like, it just feels like confirmation bias. Like, you could also easily say history never repeats itself and then, like, point out, like, minutia where you're like, this is different. And I just don't think it's a useful phrase. I think, like, you can say there's, like, relationships between, like, moments in history. I don't know. I was just, like, being annoyed about history once again.
I like that. I had a professor who was like really adamant about like thinking about
a moment of drama on camera. My painting flew away, but don't worry.
Can you grab it?
Save that one. Okay, you had a professor.
I had a professor who like really wanted, a film professor who really wanted to instill in us not so much that like history repeats itself, but that through art and thought individuals, there is a continuity where we're always in conversation with our history.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that better. The idea that like we should always be referencing the past, and we should always be aware of the past, and we should always like, yeah, like we should know what became before.
Yeah. And I think it's also kind of like liberatory to like not be bound to the past. You know, it's kind of like there's people like who are like, my parents were this way and their parents were that way, and like I know that I'm going to end up that way too. And you're like, maybe, but like, isn't it maybe better to not like think of yourself like simply as like a preformed product of that lineage? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of like being able to like live in the world and stay sane, right, is like about holding like, I don't know, is that what dialectical thought is? Someone tell me. I'm very uneducated.
You're not uneducated.
Like it's rude of me to say that because I've had a lot of educational privilege, obviously, but like I'm like, there's so much shit I don't know. Like people are talking about this shit all the time. I'm like, I think I got it. But like, yeah, it's just like you have to like constantly be like going back and forth between like all of these things which are all true and dissonant, and like, I don't know. That's how I've managed, at least, to live this long. I don't know about you.
That's definitely, I feel like, I don't know how I've managed to live this long.
Sometimes it does seem like a miracle.
Yeah.
Where did we come from? Oh, you were talking about art that you liked.
Oh yeah, that was the
Okay.
art that I liked.
Cool, thank you. I'm also interested in your thoughts on remixing.
On
I
what?
tried to read the Lawrence Lessig book called Remix a little, like maybe last year, and I did not like it because I disagree with him a lot. But I have increasingly over like the past year, maybe more, been like extremely interested in like specifically like copyright and intellectual property and like the like weird legal machinations of like things like remixing and sampling, and like how little that benefits any artist.
Mm-hmm.
But and have like books I want to read but haven't, so not very useful. Yeah, the book that I just started reading that might be interesting to you is, do you know who Mackenzie Work is?
Nope.
So I think she's Australian, and I like just found out about her because I'm, you know, on a journey of discovery always, or whatever. And I think she's like kind of an influential academic, but also like maybe kind of arty person who, one book that I really want to read of hers is called Reverse Cowgirl, and it's kind of about like queerness. But the book I'm reading, and she has this other book I really want to read called Virtual Geographies, which is kind of about like in like a digital age, like massive events that like happen in real life but also like online, I think, and like how like place like connects to like kind of this digital world, which is like really what I want to know. It's what I don't know, but it's my deepest wish. The book I'm reading right now, to get to the point, is called Hacker Manifesto.
Ooh.
And she's kind of talking about the designation of this hacker class as like a category of people who are like subverting and like kind of going between, and it's like a little like abstract, but like basically people, like the way that I'm like thinking about is like kind of like with the emergence of the web, right, and like things like Napster, and the people who are able to go into like these undefined spaces and like subvert them or like find the loopholes and like create things. And then she's also kind of talking about like like capitalism. She's talking about the vectoralist class in the part I'm in, which if someone's read the book probably means I'm not very far into it. But the vectoralist class being like the people that neither produce things nor hack them, but simply like understand where the intersections where money can be made are, right? Like kind of like a consulting firm or like a finance firm or like some types of law practice and stuff, I think is sort of how I'm thinking about it. And like these are like people that don't really do anything for the world but like simply like kind of know where there's like
Found a way to make money without doing anything.
Yeah, and like yeah, and like that's like, you know, where your copyright lawyers come in, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, we know the rules and you broke them. Yeah. Anyway.
Our job is to know the rules.
Yeah, God forbid there not be a cop in every industry, right? But I mean, yeah. I don't know. Like I was explaining the book God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater recently. Have you ever read that? It's a Kurt Vonnegut book. And it's about I like read it when I was pretty young. I was maybe like 13 or 14 because like of course I was, you know, a Kurt Vonnegut teen. And really the premise of the book is so you have this guy, Elliot Rosewater. He has like inherited an enormous family fortune that has been tucked away for years within this like front of this thing called the Rosewater Foundation that's supposedly charitable but really just like allows the like people in the family to like kind of draw an allowance that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, it's just like a fucked up like rich people system. And he's like, Elliot Rosewater is like not really about it. He's kind of like an older man. He's like, let's like, he like just cares about like volunteer fire departments and like going for walks and like wanting to give the money away. And there's this young like vectoralist who's like a lawyer who like kind of hears about this very weird
Vectorlist or vectorist?
I think she says vectoralist, but also I could be incredibly wrong. So
I'm gonna start using it as soon as we leave. Just so
okay,
you know.
great.
So.
I think I'm very happy to have a word for that now. You know, I'm like, okay, this makes sense to me.
All right, continue. There's a vectorlist.
Oh yeah, but basically, like, there's like he finds out about this like loophole-esque thing in the agreement for this fortune, which is that if someone's insane, like they get cut out of it. So he sets about like trying to like prove that Elliot Rosewater is insane, so he can then transfer the money to the next in the line, and during that transfer, like transferring, and it's all like whenever money changes hands, it's the chance to go like take some of it, right? So he like is like, my chance to make a ton of money is by brokering this like wealth transfer. And and I don't know, I think it got me into like socialism kind of at a young age when I otherwise would not have been encouraged to. But that's the vectoralist class.
Cool. Say the name of the book again.
God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater.
Okay. And the other book?
The other book is A Hacker Manifesto by Mackenzie Wark.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just want to make sure we got it.
We got it.
We got it.
Yeah, anyone is also welcome to email me. I've killed like yet another few email correspondences by being too lugubrious. So if anyone's like not exhausted yet,
everyone wants Charlotte to email them. It's a trip.
Dying for someone to email me. Everyone's just waiting for an email to change their life. Is something I say as a joke and it's like not particularly funny.
I'm waiting for an email to change my life.
Yeah, right? Any specific email, or just like the idea that that word could arrive, that your life is different?
Just a good email.
Just a good email.
Just an email that will make me feel like, huh, I never thought about it like that.
That's
But
great.
I get emails like that often, I feel like, maybe.
You do?
Maybe. You send me good emails.
Oh, thank you. I feel like I haven't sent you a really good email. I'm just
You've
like,
sent-
here's a link.
All right. Let me think. What's next?
Oh, I want to hear about music video night, but more specifically, I was going to use that to segue into I want to hear about your approach to making music videos.
Oh. Yeah. So
Maddie, feel
music-
free to weigh in.
Space that one.
Oh no, it's fine. You also don't have to be mentally present for this. No, I'm just curious about your approaches to making music videos.
So to start, music video night is going to be August 26th. We're just showing a ton of music videos on Twitch for Northampton Open Media.
Nice.
For my little show, Focus Locus. That was originally an in-person show, and now is it's not mine, but I'm hosting it lately and organizing it lately in this
You have,
form.
I would say that gives you some ownership.
Yeah. So Focus Locus. We're just gonna show a bunch of music videos and have the people who made them come on and talk about them for like a couple hours.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's the 26th.
Yes.
I will internalize that.
I'll invite you on Facebook.
Thank you. I love to be invited on Facebook.
So approach to music videos. I have not. How many music videos have I made? 6? Like 6 music videos. I was gonna say I haven't made enough, but I guess that's plenty, more than the average person. I feel like the process is like first like having a conversation with the artist, obviously, about what they want, and that's kind of the entire jumping off point for me, except like from there I'll have ideas just from listening to the song itself, and I think that sometimes I don't know, I'm a very visual person, so it's like cool to like talk to a musician who like has like a certain number of visual ideas they have, and then like think like, oh, like working in a visual medium, how do we actually do this? And if we can't actually do this because it would cost us like $1 million, how do we have the same feeling without doing that? And then I make a list, we make like a storyboard. Maddie is much better at storyboarding than I am, or a shot list, after like ironing out the concept. Pick a date to film. I don't do costuming, so usually the musicians will do costuming if it's like more high concept. And then I like go and spend $200 at Michael's for props and things, and sometimes I make things, like for Mary Jester's music video, I made like a little fake jewelry box and things like that. And then on set, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to it's definitely easy to explain because it's just like you show up,
Yeah.
you play the song, you have your shot list, you go shot by shot, you know what you want it to look like, you know what order you want it to be in, so you know what you want, you try and get a lot of coverage. So since music videos are short, you can like play the whole song through every scene that you're shooting, and then you can have pieces from all the concepts with each part of the song, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm working on a music video right now for a friend Madden, who did a cover of Steely Dan, Dirty Work. And Madden has like a very clear, distinct concept. So we took that, and I like had a longer conversation with them, and like started ironing out things that I think would make sense. Cause like, I don't know, it's like 3 minutes is longer than you think it is too. So a lot of it is like being like, let's make sure we can fill this time if the concept is kind of not really time, like temporally tied. I don't know.
I guess like things like, because I guess what I'm interested in too is just that songs have such their own like pace and rhythm and stuff. Like, how difficult is it for you to like kind of think within like that like preordained like part of it?
I feel like that's a really fun part. I mean, sometimes it's kind of frustrating because you're like, oh, like this is a visual I'm really attached to. I wish it could be the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's also like figuring, like in the actual editing process, it's really fun to like find the beats that you want to be really impactful because they sync up, while also finding the ones. I feel like there's two approaches where like you can have the video component match up with the music more often, and then it's like a little more obvious the like process, and it feels more like a music video and less like a video art piece, you know, because it feels like super intentional. But also it's so fun. Like sometimes it like when you hit right, you know, like right at the beat, and it's just like so sick. That's very satisfying.
How do you feel about like narrative in music videos? Wow, that postal officer is ripping up. Thank you for your service. I've always loved the postal service. I have a collection, an unadvertised collection of photos of post offices.
Oh my god.
If you ever want to see some photos of post offices,
I would love to see some photos.
I always wish I knew more about architecture. I feel like architecture is like pretty hard to teach yourself about, but also that's, I think, more just my brain not holding on to that information super well. Like I've never like really taken art classes, or like I never took like any art history classes or anything, and I feel like I have a pretty solid grasp of a lot of the basics of that. And like architecture, I'm just like, what type of building is that?
I'm the same way. I like desperately wish I knew about architecture.
One thing we could do if you want is I did start taking like an architecture class that was really rad at school last semester, and then my brain stopped functioning once we went remote, so I like, you know, I finished the work, but I basically dropped out of the class. But I saved I have all the lectures, and I've been meaning to watch them, but we've discussed this like 16 times. If you want to co-watch some lectures,
I would love to.
It was a really, I feel like I learned a lot when, like, you know, I had to sit in the place and like learn it, and it was cool. And then I sounded so pretentious because I would just go around talking about Bauhaus and shit that I don't actually know about. Anyway. But yeah, the architecture of post offices is interesting to me because like some of them are just so weird, in a great way, but like I kind of started this when I didn't really leave like the same like very limited area of the country. I love it.
You like it?
It has so much life.
I decided if I should do anything else. Anyway, you haven't thought about, so post offices leave the country. Go back.
Yeah. Well, anyway, basically, a post office is in almost every town.
Yes.
And so after college, I got this job where I was living in Omaha, but also traveling a lot. And it became like a easy way to like keep track of where I had been, was just to like take a picture of the post office, because it always says the name on the front and everything, you know. And then it also kind of like looks like, you know,
looks like the town.
Yeah, like it reflects its surroundings a lot, I think, often. And so I've been like
tastes.
lazier, but yeah.
I would love to see your post office photos.
Yeah, and also I've like looked this up. This is not a new thing. You can find several Instagrams that are people's photos of post offices. So like, you know.
But I want to see your photos of post offices.
But I will show you mine and tell you about them.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of some of them. Like, did you know Yellowstone has its own post office?
No.
Yeah. that, yeah, there's a little town inside Yellowstone for some of the workers there, and it has its own post office, which is like very grand. Anyway, I feel like, how did we get onto this?
Oh, the postman.
Oh yeah, the post person came. Yeah, I wish I knew more about how to save the postal service,
Me too.
but that's been a problem for a long time.
Yeah, that was one of my essays on my like AP Lit exam. Was
Oh,
about
really?
the post office. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Dang, what exactly was the essay?
It was like explain why the postal service is necessary or something. You know, there was like a reading with it, and you were just like describing. It was an essay. I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
I said the postal service is necessary.
Well, on the record, you've been a postal service advocate for a long time. Man, I knew someone once who, or my friend, I guess, I don't know. You know, it's just like when you move, you know, it's hard to keep track of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, my friend used to sit in like a little airless room in Texas somewhere and grade SAT exams with all of these like retired English teachers. He was like 29, but like, you know, it's a job. And it just sounded so funny because they just were grading one essay was all they were doing, and it was some essay about Babe Ruth and like I don't know, it just sounded, he's funny and he made it sound funny, and I'm just going to make it sound lame, but it was just like something about like Babe Ruth and like whether or not there's an I in team. And like because of some way that they had, I did that to my mic, sorry. Because of some way they had phrased the question, like every third essay started out being like, as the great Bambino said.
Nice.
And it just sounds so like
the great Bambino.
Weird and like boring and like perfect, but like only in retrospect, and like surrounded by like these old men who are like, I remember the great Bambino. It's like, oh my god.
As the great Bambino said.
Yeah,
so religious sounding.
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, the only Hemingway book I kind of liked was The Old Man and the Sea, because I like appreciate adoration, even if it's for like sports people. You know? Like.
All right.
You think you're wrapping up?
Yeah, I think I'm almost done.
Nice.
How's it going over there?
It is going all right. I finished, I think, one panel for the most part, and that is frankly farther than I expected to get. I did make sure, I was like, I have to draw it in advance. We're gonna be here for like 5 hours. Yeah.
What do you think?
Sorry, what were you saying? I really like how you paint. Like, it's really cool. I want like more paintings by you. I want a gallery show.
You want a gallery show?
Yes.
We could do an OK Painters gallery show.
Oh my god. Maybe.
That would be fun.
Yeah, probably. I think, do you feel like you understand more about tomatoes now, or like have a new relationship to them after your painting?
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? They look a lot like roses in mine, and I feel like that is something I could think about. I also think that...
Are your tomatoes DSA members?
Yes, they are. They're all DSA members. I also painted some really, oh no, I just got water on it. Painted some really big tomatoes, as well as some really little tomatoes. So I feel as though it is not a realistic portrayal of tomatoes?
No, that's super realism. They're like that all the time.
Oh my god. Oh, I signed Liz in a funny way.
Oh, that helps too.
See?
Oh,
Working on my
the
sig.
angles there.
Working on my signature.
I think that's great.
What should we pick? Should we pick a last topic?
Cool. Yeah. Well, I am interested in hearing more from you about PSL and that whole thing, because I've heard you talk about it a little, but I'm like, I want to know more.
Yeah.
And what brought you there?
I have always been kind of a lazy Marxist, or I guess until recently. So I never joined a party. I knew I didn't really want to be part of DSA for reasons. And it took until sort of graduating college and like because my first goal post graduating college was make a film. So I guess really my mind was set on that pretty hard for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But since...
And you made a film, plug,
and I
Shelf Life, go to the YouTube. Okay, keep talking. Can we flash something on the screen?
Yeah, we can flash something.
Oh, also, you need to send me
an advertisement.
Yes, you should send me an advertisement.
For the milk scene.
For the milk scene, which I swear is happening. And yeah, like, shout out to my friend laying it out. But also, if you're watching this, David, you need to finish.
Wrap it up, David.
Come on, David. You're a villain in Western Massachusetts now.
Oh
Okay,
my God.
sorry, continue.
No.
I can say that to him, I promise. Yeah, blessing.
Yeah, so I kind of piggybacked on Maddie, who was doing research on parties and knew people in Boston in the Boston PSL. And I sort of tangentially know those people, mostly from Twitter. And every sort of PSL person who I've encountered on the internet and every sort of PSL thing that I encountered on the internet, I was a fan of. So then Maddie was working on joining, and I was like, maybe I should join. And then I read the program, and it pretty much perfectly aligned with what I've been thinking of for so long. In a way that was kind of spooky, but also not really that spooky because I feel like most of the things I think come out of what other people think from reading them. So it's not like I came up with these, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was like, wow, I didn't realize there was something actively happening in my own backyard that was like directly also this, which is very silly to not. I guess I did realize, but I didn't look for it. But yeah, so then we joined. Anyway, so it's 4 members, including us. One person's been in it. They're both people. The other 2 people have been in it a while. Only one of them has been like in the area doing organizing for a while. But yeah, it's like we're doing a reading group. We did a action as part of like the national PSL cancel the rents action. And we're gonna keep doing a monthly reading group, which I'm excited for. And it's been really grounding and nice to like, I don't know, I think that like it feels so nice to just like be able to go to a meeting and already be all on the same page, you know, by design, because you've all signed on to the same stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been a fan of it so far.
Cool. And what would you say like the like kind of like central ideological points are?
Central ideological points.
When I got confirmed in church, the only thing we had to agree to is that Jesus one time existed. So like, what's your version of that?
That's genius.
It was. I honestly had a very chill church experience growing up for the most part.
That's lovely.
Yeah, thank God for that.
Central points that there needs to be a revolution. They're a Marxist-Leninist org. There's a lot of people who also subscribe to Mao's ideas within the org. So it's like a revolutionary socialist organization that wants to get rid of the current United States structures and through like certain processes build socialism. Yeah, and like a big part of their ideology is like self-determination, which has been very, I don't know, like the way that their program sort of lays out what a revolution would actually look like and what we would actually do with all of the like large and also like minute details of United States imperialism and how to like reconcile with those things, and also, I don't know, like being like a settler colonial state, and like, yeah, like how to address those things as far as, so addressing those things through just self-determination for indigenous groups and Black people and like the occupied areas of like Guam and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and also just, I don't know, it's really refreshing and nice and good and grounding to be like, yeah, I agree with Lenin and I agree with Marx, and these people do too, and that's where we're all coming from.
Yeah.
That makes
I think
sense?
there's definitely that phenomenon sometimes when there's like something big, sort of like the, you know, like I think defund, right, is a good example of that. And then it's frustrating to like be like, I'm spurred to action, and then have to get everyone on the same page, which is inevitably something that like never really happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like people don't want to be on the same page. Because they don't, I don't know, like, liberalism necessarily doesn't have... It's a disease. And it's like anti-ideology, because once you have an ideology, that means that you can't, like, justify little things that the state does, or big things that the state does, that you decide you agree with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't be, like, anti-imperialism and also think that, like, the United States should go to war when you find out through the State Department that someone somewhere is a dictator, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Can't have it both ways.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. That sounds very neat. As you heard on our very flustered like phone call the other day, I don't know. I'm like kind of trying to do too much right now, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
But also I feel bad because I feel like the thing that's getting scaled back right now is like political stuff. And I don't think that is what should be getting scaled back. So I'm trying to find a way to like renegotiate all of that, which is a long way of getting around to saying that I do not know if I can be a stalwart active member of the PSL, but I would like to know more about your reading groups and stuff, and discuss ideas.
Yeah. Please come to our reading group. I'll tell you when the next one is.
Thank you. What are you reading?
We've been reading we only did the first one, and at the first one we read just something from Liberation News, which is the PSL's newspaper. That was a Marxist perspective on police abolition, that essentially was like the reason that the police in the U.S. exists, and, you know, the U.S. military and all sort of policing structures exist, is because the capitalist class and the ruling class need something to keep people from destroying them, because all of their value and wealth comes from exploiting people. So they're literally just like bodyguards for wealth, you know? And like, even if we abolish the police in, you know, certain areas of the United States, local or national or whatever, even if that were able to happen somehow, even though like it's very clear at this point that's not going to happen legislatively, like that it would take like literally decades to even get close, that it will just be replaced by something else to serve the same purpose, because the problem is police and prisons, but like the reason that they are what they are is because of their purpose, which is to defend capital and like you know, like so much, and like put Black and brown people into prisons, which are then like closed systems to generate more wealth, and like sow fear and terror and create crime to create money and to create racism. It's
Mhm.
yeah. So like the idea being that like you can't just like we can't have capitalism and also abolish the police. So it was talking about like, yeah, we have to start by abolishing capitalism. So that was like really kind of the juice of it. And then there was a lot of more detailed things, like their stance on things like the jail killer cops statements, which I'm still kind of.
What's their stance?
So the stance, oh my gosh, plane. The stance in the article is that they support the call to jail killer cops because it comes from, like, it's like a true request in a sense, because it's like the demand comes from knowing that never happens, and like that, like, to bring to like recognize the hypocrisy of the system, and that like murderers, it depends on who they murder and who they are, more so. Yeah, I don't know. Maddie, do you want to say anything about that?
Well, I've come to understand that the nature of the demand is something that does not, come out of any like misconceptions about the
Yeah.
industrial system as being a non-effective way to solve violence, but more so that it is a justifiable demand, and it is a demand that developed organically out of the struggle by people enduring the struggle, who are also not under any misconceptions about the nature of the prison industrial system, that would arguably, if it could actually happen, which arguably we'll see what will come of it, probably nothing has come of it, it would like objectively make police feel less safe in committing acts of violence against black people. If there are like a lot of examples of violent repercussions, which probably won't happen, but it's a justifiable demand.
Yeah.
Okay.
For those who can't hear because Maddie isn't mic'd, it's a justifiable demand. It comes out of not a like illusion about the possibilities of the system, but like an understanding of the system. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this card just filled up.
All right.
All right. Well, that's that.
Should we show where we are right now?
Amen.
Should we show our?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, you're fine.
This is what I've been doing.
Oh my
while
God,
you're
that's
there.
beautiful, Charlotte.
Oh no. Oh no. It's no tomatoes. You know
I
I love
love
tomatoes
that.
the most of anything. So-
Charlotte, I love that.
Well, I love yours. Do you want to trade?
Sure.
I actually have a giant tomato poster that I have to put up somewhere, so I could make a whole tomato wall.
I love that.
All right.
Can we take a picture of them together?
Sure.
And
I didn't quite finish, but I can maybe do that super quickly and then give it to you.
what's our sign off? Thank you for painting with us.
Thank you for painting with me, Liz. I don't care about them.
Thank you for painting with me, Charlotte.
You're welcome.
Do you want to say, Charlotte, do you want to look in the camera and say, okay, painters, goodbye.
Okay, painters. Sad.
Goodbye.
Bye.